Appeals meeting to order. Can we start with a roll call? Jim?
Yes, James Meyer.
Aziz Hassan.
Irma Drummond?
Tara Franco.
Could I ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. We do have our alternate member who's going to be joining us late. Lisa, for the record, you can acknowledge that with Barbara Baros's absence, we're just going to have Mary join us right at the table whenever she gets here, okay? All right, so on our agenda, we do have a couple changes this evening. We're not going to, well, we have a request to adjourn items number 4 and 5. I think we're going to have just a little bit of discussion because the board has to be aware of something related to item number 4. But item number 5, we do have a request for adjournment, so we're not likely to have any discussion about that one. Our upcoming meetings are going to be, well, upcoming is not August 9th, so our upcoming meeting is our next month meeting. For any of you who are scheduled for public hearings, next month's meeting, Tuesday is the primary, so we are not going to be meeting on Tuesday. We've had to change that meeting to Monday. So if you get scheduled for a public hearing, or if you have to come back, make sure you recognize the meeting's going to be Monday, September 12th, okay, not Tuesday, the 13th. We do have one set of minutes to approve, so do I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended for July 12th?
So moved.
Second. I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, so everybody understands how our meeting is organized and how we run. The first part of our meeting is public hearings. If anybody is a neighbor to one of our sites, you have an opportunity, you probably got a letter in the mail, you have an opportunity to comment on the applications that are before us. We do have 3 public hearings this evening. Once the public hearings are concluded, we have reviews, which are generally the first time we've seen these applications. There are a couple that we have seen before that we've asked for some additional information on. But again, for the most part, the reviews are not subject to public comment this evening. So let's start with item number 1 is a public hearing. It's Appeal 3798 Davenport. Michael Davenport, 39 Old Farm Lane, Garrison, is requesting a 5-foot rear line variance for a proposed deck extension on his house located at 22 Marcy Lane, Hopewell Junction, pursuant to Section 194-22D4A of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so last month, we had an opportunity to review your request. You have a home in the Hopewell Glen subdivision,
Right.
which was built as a cluster subdivision. So the
Right.
lots are, we all know, are very, on the small
Small
side,
side.
okay? They're definitely, because the subdivision incorporated some open space into it, just,
Right.
essentially surrounding the development. And so we have had this issue before with some of the decks in those lots are on the small side. So you have requested to be able to increase the size of your deck from a 10-foot by 8 deck to 20-foot by 20, essentially?
No, 20 by 10.
20 by 10?
It's 10 foot, it's 11 foot wide, the original one, I'm putting 10 foot by 10, 10 by
Okay.
10 addition on it.
Um,
But there's nobody, in the back of the house, there's nobody there. I got a watershed area they got, you know, I go way back, another 400 feet before they build the other houses.
Okay,
So it's not like I'm encroaching on another home would be, it's not.
okay. And the lot next to you said is not built yet?
No, the one on the left, they're in the progress of building. I talked to Jim, the one on the right, he had no problem with it. I saw him this weekend when I was working. I said,
So there is a neighbor on the other side?
there's a neighbor on the right side, yes.
Okay. All right, now you bought this house a year and a half ago or so, or you bought it a while ago?
I closed last February.
Okay, but you don't live there yet?
We're moving in slowly but surely, yes.
Oh, okay.
We're in a slow move.
Okay, so this is for your use?
Yes, oh, no,
Okay,
no,
'cause
sorry.
it
My
wasn't-
other house is for sale now. If you want to buy that one, I'll sell it.
That's fine, that's fine. I just, the way you approached it, and I even reread the minutes,
Yeah.
it sounded like it was for your use. I
no.
just wanted to be sure, that's all.
No, it's for our use. It's just we're in the progress of selling the other house and doing the changes in this house and moving in.
No, that's fine, I just
Yeah.
wanted to be sure it was for your use, that's all. So again, we've had this issue before. We did talk about the stairs, so you're
Yeah,
gonna
and
make sure
I
that the stairs are
relocated-
not gonna encroach.
No, I thought, my wife just changed. We're going to take it off the original deck and just go down so
Okay.
no problem. She said, well, if that's an issue, we'll just, as you walk out on the deck, since it's 20 inches smaller, I'll just extend it over 20, make a 30-inch case, go down right from the deck that's there now, so there's no issue with it.
Okay. So any comments or questions from board members?
No, I'm good.
No, thank you.
Is there anyone here who wishes to speak for or against the request from Michael Davenport requesting a 5-foot rear line variance for a proposed deck extension on his house located at 22 Marcy Lane, Hopewell Junction? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. This is appeal number 3798. Applicant is Michael Davenport, requesting a 5-foot rear line variance for a proposed deck extension in this house pursuant to section 194-22D4A of the zoning ordinance. The property is located at 22 Marcy Lane, Hopewell Junction, and the resolution is offered by zoning board member Aziz Hassan. Whereas the applicant has applied for a 5-foot rear line variance for a proposed deck extension on his house pursuant to section 194-22D4A of the zoning ordinance, and whereas this action is a type 2 action under seeker and no further action is required, and whereas the legal notice was published in the Southern Dutchess News on July 27, 2016, and whereas the zoning board of appeals held a public hearing on August 9, 2016, and whereas the zoning board of appeals finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the community, as the rear of the lot abuts dedicated open space that will not be developed with a home. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means, as these lots are smaller and than most, as they are configured under the town's cluster zonings to provide open space to the community, but the applicant would like a little more room on his deck for his personal use. The variance requested is not substantial. The proposed area variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. Now therefore be it resolved that the zoning board of appeals hereby approves the request by Michael Davenport for a 5-foot rear line variance for a proposed deck extension to his house located at 22 Marcy Lane, Hopewell Junction, pursuant to section 194-22D4A of the zoning ordinance. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Is there a second?
Second.
Votes as follows: Jim?
Aye.
Aziz?
Aye.
Tara?
Aye.
And myself, aye. So your motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
All right, have a good evening. All right, item number 2, Appeal 3799 Spearman. Trevor Spearman, representing May Katz, 2293 Route 52, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 370-square-foot variance for a proposed 720-square-foot proposed barn, where a 350-square-foot structure is allowed pursuant to Section 194-107D of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, Trevor Spearman representing Maycats.
Okay, and we had an opportunity to review this application last month. This is the lot next door to Cinnamon Tree, the
Correct.
daycare center. We were kind of surprised to hear that, in fact, there was an agricultural use going over there, but, so your client has alpacas, has wild turkeys, has,
Some guinea hens also, yes.
okay, yes. But it's on like a 20 acre lot?
11 acres,
Oh,
where
okay.
10 acres is required for the farm use. And of course, as stated previously, we have that 100-foot setback adhered to.
Right.
And, it really is the only location for that structure.
And you don't have a whole lot of frontage on this lot. It's a very deep but narrow lot.
Correct.
So it's not, nobody really was going to see the structure from the
No.
main road. The Cinnamon
No.
Tree next door isn't going to see it because there's definitely some,
There's some good screening, mature
Yeah, there's
trees. There's a
vegetation
good
in
kind of
between the lots.
Yeah.
so, and the look of it, you,
I had the elevations,
Yeah,
and
yeah, you
we
did
think
have
it's
them
a
with you
really
last-
nice structure that we'd like to put up front,
Right.
but,
and so
it's a
even
shame
though
that it'll get buried.
the structure is double the size, based on the multiple types of animals that you're going to be housing within there, that's what you
Correct.
walked us through.
The
in
idea
terms
is
of-
they're basically housed together more like in a kind of a pet-friendly environment where they actually live and just in a kind of a little community in one hut. So it's not separate stables that we're looking for, not separate structures, just one kind of structure for all of the animals to coexist.
Imagine the conversations they must have. You never know.
I don't know what language they speak.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm just saying. All right. Any comments or questions from board members?
No, I'm good.
I think we covered.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about this. I think it's a neat use, so. So is there anyone here to speak for or against the request from May Katz, 2293 Route 52 Hopewell Junction, requesting a 370 square foot variance for a proposed 720 square foot proposed barn? Yes.
Hi, how are you? My name is Arthur Maselli. I'm the neighbor to Mrs. Katz. I never met her before, so.
Okay.
I've been there for 15 years. I don't know what this is going to do to the property value of my house, okay? And that's what my concern is.
Okay.
This big structure I don't know if it's going to be able to be seen from my house or not.
Okay.
Okay, and there's other animals besides what you stated there as well. I mean, what other animals are there? Or there's some...
Well, I'm sorry, you're addressing your comments
Oh,
to
I'm
us,
sorry.
and
I'm
if
sorry.
necessary, we'll ask them to.
But my concern is, I have 4 kids, okay? My concern is, is one of them going to get loose? Is something going to happen to one of my kids? What's it going to do to the property value of my house? I don't even know where it's going.
Okay. Right.
Those are my concerns.
That's fine, no problem. The applicant has actually brought a plan with him, so you have the ability to be able to look at the site and see where on the site. Trevor, would you happen to know where the neighbor's house is?
So if we look,
I mean, yeah.
so this is the front of the property, and the property is exceptionally long, it's 11 meters, so.
Can you give us some sense of how far back that barn is going to be?
So from the house itself, it's about another 50 feet back.
Okay,
And actually, if you're looking at the back of the property, it starts to slope off back here. So it's right before it slopes off, right at the edge. So it's farther back. It is central to the property. There's at least 100 feet. 100 feet is required for any kind of farm building structure. So we're at least 100 feet here and also 100 feet from this side.
And then my house is right here.
I think the closest house is actually somewhat in line more with the front of the existing, right? So you're probably somewhere over here, correct?
Okay, my deck is back here, and my kids play over back here as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some photographs that I've taken in that direction and in my office, and I couldn't even locate your house exactly. There's some good screening there, too, between the property. I mean, actually, even here, it's still there, but Evergreen Hedgerow.
And is there going to be a fence there, no fencing whatsoever?
Yeah, so the area would be fenced in, code compliant fencing as allowable by, the code also. But the idea is that we'd actually kind of have the animals just in this area here, between the house and the structure also. Not like, up here, not back here.
My concerns is, when I go to sell my house, what's this going to do to my house? That's what my concern is,
okay.
okay? Somebody going to want to buy my house, is my house going to be less desirable now because I live next to a farm? Those are my concerns.
It could actually, frankly, it could be more desirable. There are some people that frankly will enjoy living next to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
you
Well-
ask yourself that.
If it's okay, I would show them the plans.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
On the
Are
second.
the animals existing there already, though?
It's actually
Mr.
in-
Spearman,
Yeah.
are there animals there on the property now?
already?
There are some, yes, yeah.
Okay,
What kind of animals are on the property, if I can ask? I don't.
Alpacas, guinea hens, and one giant turkey.
Okay.
okay.
The structure, now, this would be facing the back of the house.
Right.
The right side, for example, would look like that. So it's, where it starts to slope off. It's actually, you see the detail, it's actually kind of a nice structure. The idea is that it's not
I'm sure it's a lovely structure, and that's not that's not what my concerns are. My concerns are, what I brought up to the board.
Sure.
What kind of animals are going to be in there? Is it going to be safe for my kids? You're going to assure me that this is going to be perfectly safe for my kids? That's what you...
Can I address the...
Go ahead.
The reason we're in front of the board is because of the size of the structure.
Okay.
So we could place a farm building there that's 350 square feet.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, without even coming for
Yeah.
approval.
That's true.
And also, there is that 60% of the existing footprint rule, which kicks into potentially allow us to do something like around 1,300 square feet in terms of a farm structure. That would, from my understanding, require board approval. So what we're going for is just one single structure that's 720, which is not even trying to max out anything because we're quite happy with that size. So
Yeah. As far as the animals, as long as they have animals that are allowed by the code, none of that's before us.
That's fine. I also want to make sure that my kids are, you know, going to be protected with a fence, how's the fence going to look and stuff like that. That's all my concern. I'm not here to stop anybody from building. I just wanted all the information.
Sure.
That's all I wanted.
And
Okay.
that's fine. Your comments, your comments are valid, your concerns
Yeah, I
are
don't-
valid.
I'm
We're
trying
not
to
worried
be
about that.
disrespectful or anything. I just wanted.
We're trying to get you the information that you need. That's fine.
You know, I get a letter in the mail saying that somebody's going to put up a, you know,
structure,
750 square
yeah.
foot structure next to my house. I don't know where it's going.
I'd be
I don't know,
myself.
right, I don't know what's going on with it. I'm sure she's a very nice lady. I have none of that.
We do have an aerial photograph, so can we just be sure which house is yours? And Mr. Smirnick, why don't you come up as well, just so we're clear? This is Cinnamon Tree, okay? Because I'm just familiar with that. So this would be the lot that we're talking about, right? And so I'm going to guess this is your house. All right, so when he was talking about your house being on a par with the front of the existing
more in the front
structure?
of the existing
Yeah, exactly. So it is, so you're talking about this structure being like
Correct.
where,
Exactly
right here?
there.
So
Well,
there-
actually, slightly more centered in fairness
Okay,
on the property.
no, that's fine.
Almost.
There is a lot of vegetation here, from what, again, I don't know the age of this, you know, how old this photo is, but there appears to be a significant amount of vegetation here. I can't speak for back here because it's all hatched, so I'm assuming that's more vegetation back there, but it's,
Yeah, a lot of mature trees and it slopes off down.
yeah, so that's where, he talked about the property backing down there.
Down at Benny Water Pond.
So are you going to be cutting down any trees to put this structure in?
No?
Okay, so it's going to be within the existing clearing here. All right, so the expectation right now, as you've heard, is no additional trees would come down, so that screening will continue to exist. All right, anything else?
No, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. Are any of these animals kind of vicious or kind of potentially attack somebody? I mean, I don't know about alpacas or...
Well, alpacas, you can approach them and they're very friendly. They're actually a lot more docile than llamas. Some
Right.
people get the two confused.
Yeah, the llamas can
Llamas
spit.
can spit and show aggression, although I don't think it's actually
Right.
like pure violence. I don't know. Alpacas, my first time meeting them, you know, the turkey walked alongside me. The alpacas I could touch and approach. The guinea hens just kind of walked away. I don't
They
believe
have
so.
open, I know, at the Dutchess County Fair, they have, by the 4-H Club, they have, I think it's the Alpaca Spitters Club, though, but I don't know if they spit or not. But, yeah, they have it there for the kids to go up and pet them and do all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. So.
yeah.
So basically, none of the animals are going to be more on the aggressive, you know, I mean, they are animals, of course.
Right.
But again, they'll be protected within the code and
My
everything.
gut and my sense of the situation is absolutely not, no.
Absolutely not what?
Any danger.
That they're not vicious.
Okay.
Yeah, not vicious in any way, yeah, yeah.
That's all I was, because neighbor had raised that issue, and I was just thinking about it.
Yep.
Especially if I was a neighbor with kids, I would be
Small
concerned.
children.
Correct.
I'd be-
Thank you.
I'd be here myself, yeah.
I'm good.
Anybody else?
Motion to close the public hearing then.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tara?
Yeah. It's appeal number 3799 for Mary Katz.
May.
I'm sorry, May Katz. Location is 2293 Route 52, Hopewell Junction. Resolution offered by zoning board member Tara Franco, whereas the applicant has applied for a 370 square foot variance for a proposed 720 square foot barn, where a 350 square foot structure is allowed pursuant to section 194-107D of the zoning ordinance. And whereas the action is a type 2 action under SECR and no further action is required, and whereas the legal notice was published in the Southern Dutchess News on July 27, 2016, whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals held a public hearing on August 9th, and whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the granting the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the community, as the proposed barn is located further than 100 feet from all property lines, and it is not visible from the street, but will provide protection for the farm animals on the property. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means, and the variance requested is The variance requested is substantial, but the proposed structure is in keeping with the character of the community and is not inappropriate for the size and configuration of the parcel. The proposed area variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. Now therefore be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby approves the request by Trevor Spearman representing May Katz for the 370 square foot variance for a proposed 720 square foot proposed barn, where a 350 square foot structure is allowed pursuant to section 194-107D of the zoning ordinance. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner.
Is there a second?
Second.
Votes as follows. Jim?
Aye.
Aziz?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Your motion carries. You're all set.
Thank you very much for
Have
your
a
time.
good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to recuse myself.
Yes. You're going to go on the other side. I'm sorry, the neighbor that spoke before, could we ask you to sign in on the clipboard, just so we have your name for the minutes? Thank you, and thank you for coming out this evening. All right, so we have item number 3, which is Appeal 3800, Asen, Aziz and Sadaf Asen, 20 Warren Farm Road, Hopewell Junction, are requesting a 46-foot rear line and 17-foot sideline variance for an existing 11-foot by 17-foot shed pursuant to section 194-107B2 of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, for the record, Aziz is recused for this matter, and Barbara not being here and Mary not being here, we do still have a quorum, so it's your choice, recognizing there's only 3 board members here, whether you want to wait for Barbara or you want us to continue at this point, but,
I can continue.
okay, that's fine. Just want to make sure you're aware of that. Okay, so we did have a chance to review this application last month. You bought this property about 2 years ago or so.
That's correct.
And the shed that we're talking about right now was already existing on the property. The previous owners had installed it there. Where it is, it's tucked in the back of the property. It's appropriately screened, so it's not really visible to any of your neighbors. And frankly, if you had moved it into the allowed area, it would be much, much more visible to your neighbors, so.
That's correct. And the property is very rocky, so the previous
That's right, the
owners
terrain
placed,
of
the terrain is, I mean, it's basically a slope, and so the way it is tucked in, it's the only place that's logically available on the property.
Okay, and your septic is,
The septic is in the front of the house.
okay, so, not that we put a shed there anyway, but again, to be able to consider the other options. Oh, this is, okay, I was wondering why I didn't have an aerial. This has a, there was a survey that came in
Yeah,
with this one.
I
Yes.
had a survey, and the survey shows the property,
Yes.
the location of the shed and the property line.
Okay, we are now in a public hearing. Today, Pam, our clerk, received a letter from a neighbor, so I'm going to read that letter into the record, and I think there might be a question or two we have to have you address. So this is dated August 9th. My name is David Garnett, and I reside at 26 Burt's Path, Hopewell Junction. Unfortunately, I cannot attend tonight's meeting due to a work commitment. I have a few concerns about appeal number 3800, Asen, so he is asking for a variance, for his shed. I'm not sure that Mr. Asen is aware that there are deed restrictions that are stated in the Stewart Scott subdivision. The deed restriction states there are to be no outbuildings of any kind. A shed is considered to be an outbuilding. Also, at one point, Mr. Asen had come to me and told me that his shed was on my property and asked if I would sell him some of my land. I have also noticed that from time to time, on more than one occasion, tree and landscapers cutting trees and lawn that is on my property. One time when I confronted Mr. Asen, the landscaper was working on the property, left in an awful hurry. I want to be a good neighbor as I mind my own business and only check on things when I hear very loud noises. I have had the property lines staked, pulled up over 3 different times. I've had to spend numerous dollars on resurveying my property. Again, I want to be a good neighbor. I would ask you before you even think about granting Mr. Asen a variance for a shed that should not be there in the first place, that he gets the back line of our property surveyed, and that we can start from there. Okay, so to address this, because obviously, again, the neighbors bring up valid concerns, you did have a survey done.
Yeah, the survey was done on November 25th, 2015, so the survey is about 6 months old.
Right.
Did you,
And the stakes are already defined on the survey, correct?
which So it's pinned? The corners are pinned?
Pardon me?
There were pins put in or just stakes?
No, 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 this was these stakes were placed in 2000 when the property when this house was built. So these are the original pins or stakes.
Well,
I mean, the original pins.
Okay, there's a difference between stakes and pins.
Yeah, I know, and I just realized it, yeah. So these are original pins or rods that were placed 15, 18 years ago.
Okay, so by this new survey that realistically, if it's November of last year, it's about 8 months old. So it's, at this point, by this survey, this shed is clearly on your property, but as you stated to us last month, this survey was a little bit of a surprise because you thought other structures were either on your property or not on your property, so.
That's correct.
Again, that's why it's so important to get a survey, and
Correct.
we've certainly seen that issue come up before. Now, can we be clear, is your property part of this subdivision that he is speaking about?
When I bought the property, I had an attorney go through the abstract. I have the title insurance, and the insurance company,
Were there
Titling-
any exceptions for the shed?
and the shed was, I mean, the title company knew about the shed, and they made it part of they made an exception. I mean, they noted it on the abstract or on the title insurance.
Right.
But even though it was not legal at that time, but they made an exception, and so we were able to buy the house. And so if there was any issue about this non-structure or anything like that, would have, first of all, appeared during the,
Your review of your title report?
yeah, review of my title, and I would have been made aware of it. That's one thing. Second, I mean, it was there for the last 15 years, so, I mean, I don't know, and I don't know, I have not really gone and seen where this particular subdivision is, so I'm not even aware of it. I just became aware of it today when I was told earlier today.
You've
So
never seen the restrictive covenant before?
Pardon me?
You haven't seen a restrictive covenant before tonight?
No, I have no idea about any restriction, and so first of all, I had reviewed the document, and I did not see any restriction, plus my attorney had reviewed it, we were not aware of any restriction, plus the title insurance company attorney and agents had reviewed it, they weren't aware of it, and when they did the survey, when I bought the property, the shed was already there, it was pre-existing, and an exception was made, they knew about the shed, and so.
As you know, when a title company does a title search, they do a restrictive covenant search, and so that should have turned up if there was one.
Yes, it would, if it had been there, yeah.
Any restrictive covenant?
No,
in your
no.
Title policy?
I mean, nobody was aware of it. And not only that, but the neighbor has just made an allegation without any proof, so I have no idea which division he's talking about. Maybe it is his subdivision that he's talking about. Mine may be a different subdivision. I have no idea.
Do you think his statement might be erroneous?
Right,
I am-
but again,
I
on
mean, I
your,
can't judge because, that's his word against my word, but there's no proof,
to his credit, your survey does acknowledge it, okay? This is a survey of lot number 18 as shown on a map entitled Subdivision Plat, Phase 1, Subdivision Plat prepared for Stewart Scott Associates, Inc., and filed at the Dutchess County Clerk's Office on December 16, 1991, as filed map number A330. So it appears that this is a lot associated with the filed map for that subdivision.
Okay.
And I just want to make clear for the record that if there is such a restriction, that doesn't
It's not,
control us.
Right,
So we're
it's
spending a
not
lot of
so-
time on it. So even if you understand, if we grant the variance and there is such a restriction, the
It's not, right.
subdivision homeowners can still sue to have the
Yeah, that's
shed
fine.
removed. So
Yeah, that's fine.
not really an issue before us. We
Right.
acknowledge that the letter raises that issue.
right.
I made similar comments several times in the past when that issue has come up, that it's not up to us to enforce restrictive covenants on a deed.
Correct.
Our issue is what the town law allows.
Okay,
Point made. Good point made.
thank you.
All right, so any other comments or questions from board members? Is there anyone here who wishes to speak for or against the request from Aziz and Sadaf Hassan, 20 Warren Farm Road, Hopewell Junction, requesting a 46-foot rear line and 17-foot sideline variance for an existing 11-foot by 17-foot shed? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So in reference to appeal number 3800 by the applicants Aziz and Sadaf Hassan, in reference to a 46 rear line and 17-foot sideline variance for an existing 11-foot by 17-foot shed pursuant to section 194-107B of the zoning ordinance located at 20 Warren Farm Road, Hopewell Junction. Whereas the applicants have applied for a 46-foot rear line and 17-foot sideline variance for an existing 11-foot by 17-foot shed pursuant to section 194-107B of the zoning ordinance. And whereas this is a type 2 action under SEQA and no further action is required. Whereas the legal notice was published in the Southern Dutchess News on July 27th, 2016. Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals has held a public hearing on August 9th, 2016. Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the community, as the shed has been there for many years, having been placed there by a previous owner of the property. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means without making it more visible. The variance requested is not substantial. Proposed area variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood, as there are mature trees around the shed which shield it from the neighbors. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby approves the request by Aziz and Sadaf Hassan, 20 Warden Road, Hopewell Junction, for a 46-foot rear line and 17-foot sideline variance for an existing 11-foot by 17-foot shed pursuant to section 194-107B2 of the zoning ordinance. Be it further resolved that that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the zoning board shall cause a copy of the resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant order.
Okay, before we get a second on this, Jim, we need to amend your motion that we're noting that on the resolved, it acknowledges citation 194-107B2.
Yeah.
And on the top and in the first whereas, it's missing the 2.
I understand.
So Pam just confirmed it is subject to section 2. So we're going to amend the title and the first whereas to reflect 107B2.
So I just figured subdivision 2 was part of 107B, so it wasn't that important. But yeah, we got more specific as we got close to the resolution, but
So
that's fine.
as
So as amended,
amended,
I again offer the resolution.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Thank you. So votes as follows, Jim,
Aye.
Tara,
Aye.
and myself, aye, so your motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to hand that to Pam, so she has the corrections. Okay, so Lisa, for the record, Aziz is back. And, all right, we're done with the public hearings this evening, so at this point, we're now on to reviews. Item number 4, we do have a request from the applicant to adjourn, but I think we need to have a little discussion on this one, because I believe we need to give Pam some instruction to give this to this applicant. As you all know, the board knows, we had previously reviewed an application from this applicant for the applicant to be able to keep the shed where it is. This board took action on that application and denied it. It was a unanimous decision to not approve it where it is. The applicant filed a new application in the suggested location that the board made during the review of that application. At her review 2 months ago, she very clearly stated on the record that she didn't want us to consider the new location. She wanted us to consider the original location. I did have a conversation with our town attorney today because I was concerned that for the last 2 meetings in doing reviews, even though we've been trying to work with the applicant, we're not really acting on the application that's before us. And in fact, we've already denied the application that it appears she's wishing us to reconsider. So we either have to, and I'd like to, with the board's agreement, to have Pam communicate this to the applicant, that either she has to file a request for an appeal of the original decision or a reconsideration of the original decision for this board, and it has to be, for us, by the way, to consider that, the guidance from the town attorney is it must be a unanimous decision to reconsider that. Not that we have to do a unanimous approval of it, but for us to even reconsider it, it has to be unanimous. but that, or we have to deal with the application that is in fact before us.
I mean,
So-
I had the same concern, so I didn't know what would happen tonight, whether she would stick to which one.
Right.
So I have absolutely no problem advising her as to what she needs to do. I think that is appropriate, so we're not wasting our time and her
Right.
time.
Okay. All right, everybody agree?
Yeah, because, I mean, I was there at the site earlier, and that white shed is very visible, so I made my thoughts clear last time around, and moving it on the other side, it'll help everybody.
I agree, I think
No,
moving it.
in making, John, on that issue of reconsideration, it's just that simple? Does she have to put any kind of factual basis, which would give us cause to want us to reconsider it, or is it just saying, please
There should be a
reconsider?
preamble to the request, yes.
Lisa? Mary's here.
You're right, Jim.
I'm sorry, I didn't get my,
It's a preamble to the request. I think they should give us some,
give us a
Underlying
reason. They
information.
can't just say, I want you to think about this
just here
again.
tonight.
Yeah, they have to
Didn't
give
like
us
your decision.
cause. So I don't know if there could be a sentence in there, if they want reconsideration in a letter, that there has to be some new factual reason, or a reason that was overlooked in the original thing as to why it should be reconsidered.
Or they just go forward with the
Or
application that's
that
before
they have,
us.
yes.
Right.
Ah.
All right, so, I mean, we've given them 2 reviews at this point, and not really, we haven't looked at the substance of the application that's before us. And we've given them suggestions, and, you know, they truly haven't come back with responses to those suggestions, so, all right, so nothing, Pam, you have some guidance for a conversation? We appreciate that, thank you. All right, item number 5 was also, adjournment was requested by the applicant. He's considering his options on this use variance. So we're up to item number 6, which is Appeal 3797 Barber. This is a new review, so John Barber, 148 Martin Road, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 13-foot sideline variance for a proposed 10-foot by 24-foot shed pursuant to Section 194-107B2 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so take us to your application, why you're looking for this shed,
Yep.
and why you're asking for it to be in the location that you're asking for it.
Use of this shed would just be for storage of patio furniture, lawn equipment, et cetera. Based on the layout of my property, number one, aesthetically, it's, to me, the best place to put it. There's a heavily wooded tree line on the right-hand side of the property,
Okay?
50, 60-foot tall pine trees, and it's also double layered. My neighbor has the very tall pine trees, plus I have like dogwoods and Rose of Sharon and stuff like that, which I believe would be completely invisible from my neighbor on my right side. Neighbor on the left side, I know, spoken to, totally fine with it. In the rear of my property, I have wetlands, and I have a 100-year flood zone, and I also have a large vegetable garden. And directly out the center of the back of my house is my septic
Okay?
and my septic fields. So this quadrant of my property, the right-hand side, middle, about 50 feet back from the rear of my home, is, to me, the most logical place to place the structure.
Okay, and you did have, you're submitting, well, the survey that you've submitted for us is dated 1997, right? Your original survey, probably?
Yeah, correct. That's when the house
Okay.
was built.
But you are showing us a survey, so we have something to work from here. All right, is this shed out of the wetlands?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
very much so.
like at least there's 100 feet out of the wetlands?
300 feet out of the way. yeah.
300, that's good answer. That's very good to hear, thank you. All right.
Maybe 200.
And again, no motorized vehicles or anything like that. It's not a garage.
It's not a garage.
It's
Absolutely not.
appropriately
It'll
a
be an
shed.
aesthetically pleasing shed. It's not
Gonna
like
match the house or something similar? or-
nicer than the house. It's gonna be nicer than the house. It's gonna have wood siding and cedar
All right,
shakes,
now
and the
it's a
house is
man
vinyl.
cave.
Isn't it? You asked.
Okay, well, to each his own.
Yep.
Questions or comments from board members?
No, I'm good.
I mean, again, you're staying out of the wetlands. You've already addressed what you've noticed as our concern is, are your neighbors going to be able to see it?
Right, right.
Or, I mean, do other neighbors in your neighborhood have sheds as well?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Just
That's,
about everyone.
okay.
Could you tell us again what the vegetation is between the shed and your adjoining neighbor?
The adjoining neighbor on the right-hand side of my lot, there's a series of, I don't know, maybe 10 very tall pine trees on the neighbor side. And the property's still staked out from origin. And the stakes go directly between these very large pine trees and then my set of like dogwoods and Rosa Sharon, which are maybe only 15 feet tall.
Okay, thank you.
But it's heavily wooded, yeah.
All right. Okay,
So you
great.
got the low light, the sight line, and you got the tall height.
And he's got some color in there too with the
Yeah.
Rosa Sharon.
Yeah.
Okay for public hearing?
Yes.
Motion?
Motion to advertise.
All in favor? All right, good. We'll see you next month. Pam will give you your instructions for your sign.
Okay.
Monday, September 12th.
Monday, September 12th.
Yeah, because last month you weren't here.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, so make sure that you're here
So
next month.
sorry. I
Yeah,
really
make sure
do.
you're here next month.
Understood.
Monday.
Sometimes there's some confusion, so about,
Yeah, it
whether
was
you
honestly, it
need
was
to be here.
confusion. It wasn't anything other than that.
Okay.
That's
So-
fine. I think you thought you would be to be at the planning board meeting, right, instead of the zoning board or something? I don't remember, yeah. No
Make sure you
problem.
get those signs up and everything right.
All right, item number 7, Appeal 3801, Torino/Conrad. Jacqueline Torino and Athena Conrad are requesting a 78-foot sideline variance for an existing 40-foot by 60-foot barn at 118 Gold Road, Stormville, pursuant to Section 194-74B of the zoning ordinance. Good evening. So again, this is the first we're seeing of your application. If you don't
Right.
mind taking us through.
My father passed away in October of 2015, and we, as the family, are in the process of settling the estate.
Okay.
We have potential buyers, however, this building, thank you, my dad, he did not get building permits for anything besides the house.
Well, do you know when this building went up?
1980.
Oh, so it was after zoning was in place.
According
Okay.
to the very nice ladies in the town hall, they told me that it was put up 1980. I was 2 years old. I know
Okay.
it's been there since I was born, pretty much. So when I applied for the building permit, I had the survey, and she sent me upstairs because I have to apply for a variance first.
Okay.
So hence, here I am.
Okay, but, so realistically, your dad probably, in all likelihood, put this up?
Oh, yes, he did.
Okay.
He definitely did.
All right.
Proud of it and told you.
Huh?
During his lifetime, he was proud of it and told everybody.
I guess.
But at this point, it's been there for 35 years, it
Right,
sounds like.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
And-
This is kind of just things we have to do in order
have to
to move
clean up.
forward and sell. and,
Okay. What
you
does it
know.
look like? I mean, does it,
It is it's originally a pole barn. It now has horse stall, there's 5 stalls on one side, and there's garage doors on the other side.
Okay.
It's red. I don't know how else to
no,
explain it.
that's okay.
If you could take some pictures and bring them with you next
Sure,
time.
I can do
Yeah.
that next time.
Pictures, that's just so we have an idea what it's like. A little unusual shaped property, huh?
Yeah, it
Stuck in
is.
that other lot and took a bite out of that one.
Now, there's a shed next, on the one side, you mean, when you're looking from the Seaman Road on the right side, there's a shed also. Is that your neighbor's shed or is it your shed? Because there's a shed on your property line and there's another shed on the, kind of, like
I'd have
4
to
feet
look-
away.
I'd have to come look at
Come on
what
up.
you're,
Yeah, come on
Neighbors.
out.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's your
Yeah.
shed?
this is Gold Road.
Correct, and this is Seaman Road.
No,
And
that's the neighbor.
Where's my father's house?
That's by your finger.
This is his driveway, this is the house. Okay,
There's
so
the barn.
this is also, he owns 2.13 acres, and then this lot also belongs to him, so yes, that will be removed.
Okay. What
Definitely.
about this shed?
This is on the neighbor's
Oh,
property.
so this is a neighbor's property?
This is the neighbor's property.
No, no, it's a neighbor's shed.
Neighbor's shed, yes.
Okay, just want to make, and this shed will be removed?
Yes, it's
Okay.
an old chicken coop, it's been there.
Okay, so
for-
that's going to be removed. What about
And
this?
that one is movable, I am moving it.
Okay.
It's leaving.
You're taking it off the property
Off the
altogether?
property eventually,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Eventually or in the next,
It has to be done before we
Before
go
I
for the...
go to sell, yes.
Yeah, if she's got a buyer for the property already, you've already stated.
Potential buyer, yes.
Potential buyer, okay,
Yes,
so.
and I am aware of that one being there, and he did not get a permit for that either.
Okay, so what are we getting permit for at this
This.
point? This
We're
only?
getting a building permit for that, but I
Okay.
need to
But
get
this has
variance.
to be removed before we, if we grant it, before we grant it. It can't...
You have a place to move it now,
Even if it's moving it
or
into the
can you
middle of the
move it
property.
in?
Just
What do you
move
mean,
it.
can I move it
Can you
in?
move it in so it's not on the property line?
Possibly.
Which is interesting. Are you selling that as one parcel?
We're trying to, yes. We're hoping
That-
to.
Because we're also asking for, because if it, what are we asking for on this one?
The variance for the
78
40
foot?
by 60 barn.
But what's the, do we have a measurement from the corner to the back of that? That's, because that's not 100 feet either.
It was, I don't know.
To the other corner? Here.
Yeah, but this is their property.
Yeah, so he's looking, this is the site that
If
needs
this
the
is
variance.
two different lots.
Right, here.
Then this is a separate lot, then you need 100 feet here too, right? It's a barn. If it's one lot, then they're okay, then we shouldn't be seeing this as a separate lot.
It is 2 lots, so. I mean,
Okay,
but he
you
won't-
have to be 100 feet
It's what?
away from the property line. So this is not 100 feet from that property line.
Yeah, this is like 25, maybe 50 feet away.
50, 60 feet or whatever.
Okay, 60 feet.
Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I understanding the statute correctly?
It's all right, don't, you can, if we're gonna
We just wanna
advertise for a
make sure
public
you're
hearing,
doing
let's just
right.
make sure we get everything covered, so
Okay.
that, for one public hearing, we
I
clean
understand what
everything
you're
up.
saying, that acre lot, it's 60 feet off that acre lot.
Yeah.
But that also belonged to my father.
Yeah, but
No, I know
Understood,
what you're
but it
saying.
is a
I
separate
understand where you're
lot.
coming
if
from.
the new buyers say, yeah, we have 2 lots and we can build on that 1 acre and we're gonna sell that, you know, to
Right,
maximize our
understand.
investment, then that's a problem.
What's the zoning here? Is it 1 acre zoning? If the new lot is 1.01, is
Yeah.
this R1? Okay. So that is a valid buildable lot. It's not an undersized lot where we would just tell them, combine the 2 lots.
Yeah, it's a separate, and then again, it has an access to Seaman Road.
Right.
And that's the idea, I think, was they carved this out, and made a lot here. This
Right.
probably came down all the way at one point or something.
It was
Carved
the
it out into 3
school. My father went to school, kindergarten through 1st grade on that acre lot, or kindergarten through 7th grade on that
Wow.
acre lot, and the school burned down and he bought the property.
Wow.
But there's a lot here, which is probably a little bit over an acre, 1.2 or something like that.
Okay, so
I guess I'm
we
asking.
need a measurement for that other side of the barn, for the other
The
side yard
closest one,
variance.
Because this is probably the closest. I'm not quite sure why they drew the line.
When are you
there,
going to be potentially
Hard to
selling the
tell.
property?
But the angle seems
As
to be
soon as we
sharp.
can get everything
They only have a
potentially
portion of this,
solved.
Lindsay. Okay, they just
and-
had this survey done.
Yeah,
You should be able to go back to the surveyor and ask for the measurement of this barn. They just did your survey in June.
Right,
All right, so
I
you
did it
should
for
be
this
able to get
purpose.
this measurement. They really should have put this measurement for you on this, on your
So I need a
survey.
measurement of
Field
the
book will be built
barn
tonight.
to that acre lot.
You'll have it
Yes.
tonight.
The
Okay,
closest
I
point.
can find that out.
We need the
Yeah, so
closest-
if you could get, so that we understand what the other side is, so again, when we advertise, we're advertising with both sides.
That's
Mm-hmm.
just a fence, there's a fence, is that what that is? You have fences on the
There's
property?
fences there too, yes.
yeah,
All
this,
right.
yeah, this allows your potential buyer to sell the 1 acre lot
Which
without.
is something that that's part of what made it desirable for them to buy.
Yeah, so because once we do it this way, then your metal frame structure is independent, and this 1.1, which is an independent lot, can be sold without any issues.
Right,
Do you actually have horses on it?
yes.
probably-
They've been there since I was born. So I know he was grandfathered in with the zoning on that.
Okay. That's-
How many horses?
There's only 2 there right now.
But it's broken up to several, well, at least
Different
3.
lots, right.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6
There's
pens
1,
there.
2, 3, 4 different pastures.
Okay.
4?
Oh, no, 5, I'm sorry.
All right, so to be clear, the one little shed's gonna be removed,
Yes.
okay? The other, the frame stable is going to be moved,
Removed off the property as soon as
Right.
I can possibly do it.
okay? John, would we be able to finish this up subject to giving her 60 days or something like that to move this frame
Or
stable?
that could be a condition.
All right,
Yeah, we can do it that way.
all right, that would give you some time to make arrangements to have it moved off the property.
But it is what
Pardon
it
me?
is. I said not much. I'm in the process of buying property next door to me, and potentially, that's the whole point. I was going to move
Understood,
it
but
there.
let's give you some time to be able to
Right.
get everything in place, okay? But again, that's for us to consider, as opposed to having you wait for us to take action. It's a catch-22 otherwise. You can't
Yes.
finish if we can't finish, so.
It's
But
60
again, we do need you to get to the surveyor, get that one measurement, and if you can call it into Pam in the next couple of days so that we can get the
And I can
appropriate
call
notice
and-
out. Yes.
Do I need any documentation per
If
se,
you,
or
he
just
should be
call
able
and
to give
be?
you a new survey that has that measurement on there.
Okay,
Okay, that would be the ideal, and then we have it in the file, and then with that instruction, Pam can amend the application.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Franks is a good surveyor, and you can even email it to him tonight, and by tomorrow morning you might have the.
You might have all the information in the computer, just put
Right.
another
He's-
plot.
Right, he should be able to
Yeah.
get really quickly for you, okay?
Okay.
All right, any other questions from,
We don't have to do anything on the patio, do we?
No, that's more than 15 feet away.
Okay.
yeah. Anything else on here we need to worry about?
Is the corner of the house just at the 25-foot mark? Or does it, it's hard to tell from the,
I mean,
is the house within the proper setback? I can't tell from this.
Looks to me like it is.
Yeah,
But
I would
again, he
expect
should
him to
give
have a
you
mark.
that measurement too.
It would be nice if he put it right there. I presume he just made it 25 feet because it's within it.
Yeah, it's hard to
Yeah,
tell
within
how
the,
the lines.
building envelope. How old is the house, you said?
Because he does point out the barn in the back is
Yeah.
22, so I think, and that does step over.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
So I think it looks like it's okay. I think he would have called it out.
Yeah, I agree. So how old is the house?
You're asking the wrong person. I'm 38, and he built it before I was born, so
Okay, so.
early 70s, I have no idea.
70s, okay, so it may be before zoning, so those issues, okay. But again, as.
Well, zoning's been in place since the early 60s, so.
60s, okay. So-
If my sister was able to be present here, she could answer that question, but unfortunately, she's
Yeah.
not.
But as the chair pointed out, that if the corner of the frame house was outside the building envelope, the dashed lines, then the surveyor would have pointed it out. So
Right.
that's not an issue, should not be an issue.
Okay.
All right, I think otherwise we should be
I
okay.
think.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so do I have a motion for a public hearing?
I started to say that, and you motioned for public hearing advertised, whatever way you
Second.
want to say it.
All in favor?
Second,
Aye. All right, so Pam will give you your instructions.
Okay.
And again, for her to get her notice out to the neighbors, we need that other data, okay? Thank you. And then we'll see you next month on Monday, the 12th. All right, and the last item, item number 8, Appeal 3802 Conklin. Stephen E. Conklin, 7 Larchmont Drive, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 4-foot sideline variance for an existing 8-foot by 10-foot shed, which is located in front of the dwelling pursuant to Section 194-107B2 of the zoning ordinance. And you do not look like Stephen Conklin, but
No, I'm actually his real estate agent. You have a signed statement from him.
We do?
They are
Okay.
very elderly.
for Bonnie in the, okay,
They're very elderly and sickly, and they've been moved 4 hours up north already.
okay,
So I'm doing this all for them.
okay, that's fine.
So it's
if
an
you don't mind-
existing shed that's been there 20-some-odd years. I did take pictures in case you needed them. But it's just to get a variance for an existing shed that's in the front, but up near the house by the driveway, about 80, 60-something foot setback. The house is about 80 feet from the road.
In the course of, are they trying to sell this property?
Yeah, we already, well, didn't sell it. We have a buyer for it who
I mean,
wants the shed.
we're seeing a
so-
hand-drawn map. I don't know if you have a better, but we have a hand-drawn survey.
Right.
Is there an official survey?
That is the official survey with her drawing the shed on it.
That's an official survey by who? It's not signed by a
This is
surveyor.
the trustees, the daughter's the one who's taking care of all this. I'm just here because it said somebody needs to be here.
No, that's fine. And we appreciate the fact that you're here with it. It's just.
That's not an
you-
official
This board has encountered so many issues where the surveys have not been accurate.
Okay.
And so if we're going to take the time to do this, we really want to make sure we're taking the time to do it right.
Okay, I don't know where she got this from. It's a now formerly Land of Dorland, but it's only a part of the survey.
Trace to draw.
What are you looking at?
This survey?
Yeah, we have the same thing, but it's not official.
It says now formerly.
But that looks like it might be.
That looks like she
It's a little bit more-
traced this one from
Right,
that. That's what she did.
You traced it.
She traced it
See,
so we would have
this is more of a
copies.
handwritten.
It doesn't have the surveyor's name at the bottom, but it has the original people who did the survey of the land.
That, this is much more accurate. I trust this a lot more than this.
The only
so-
problem is it doesn't have this, this is the original survey without the shed, and somebody put the shed on it.
Right, because the shed doesn't need a building permit because it's only 8 by 10, so that's what happened. I came in to make sure it had a building permit before we went to close this house. I was told it doesn't need a building permit, but it needed a variance because of the location.
Can you just move the shed back behind the house?
No, it's actually like, they did it, the back of
Really
the house
screened lot.
slopes up, yes, it's
Do you even see it from the
really
road, or no?
hidden. No, I took pictures both. This is from the shed looking out, so the only house that would be able to see this shed would be that house there, which obviously they can't because of the greenery. The two houses on either side you cannot see, and
Is that the
behind is
same
the golf
picture?
course. No, this is another
Here.
version. This is that's from the house looking out to the street, and this is from the street looking in.
Oh,
So they're
so you do know,
surrounded
you
by
do
a
see it. As much as they are tall trees, they're tall and they're clear underneath. The fence is kind of ugly, too.
What's that, is that concrete drive? Back-
Yeah.
Just that line there. it looks like-
Although, is this a 4-foot fence or a 6-foot fence? On that picture, it looks 4 feet,
Yeah, it's not even 4 feet on one side, it's only like 3 feet, it's only as high as the
because the
garbage
shed's not as
can.
tall. No, you're, I hear you.
In the front, it's only a
That's right, it was as tall as the garbage can.
Okay.
All right.
I went and stood there to make sure, I didn't measure it, but I went in the back and stood and I could see over the
That
fence.
fence would look so much nicer if it was white to match the house, honestly. The fence, well, the shed too, honestly.
If the shed gray and white is okay.
Yeah, the shed is the same color as the house and the roof is the same roof. as
Shed
the
looks
house.
yellow.
That's
Doesn't it?
weird on that side, but in the front, it's gray and white like the house.
Okay. Bonnie, come
Maybe,
on up.
maybe it's reflecting the light from the fence.
This shed looks gray and white.
It is.
That side looks,
Different.
Yellow. Maybe it's reflecting the fence?
I don't know, I never noticed.
so again, from the road, having it white would just make it so blend in
that's
so
right,
much
yes.
nicer. But, that's just strange. Again, we know the height of the garbage pail, so we know that's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, I never noticed that, I don't know if that's on purpose, but yeah, the shed to me was always like, it looked exactly like the house, it was really cute.
When was this shed put up?
Again, 20-some odd years
Okay,
ago.
all right.
That when the kids were living there, the shed was there. It's got a 1953 sailboat in the back of it. But it's actually been, like I said, blacktopped right up to it. The backyard slopes up. So the buyer wants to be able to leave the shed where it is because you couldn't drive up to it. It has a turnaround and stuff right there.
I mean, it's not great, but it's not horrible, so. It would be really nice if it was all gray and white.
Yeah, it's gotta be
I mean,
some
I
sort of-
can request that
Gotta
they
be
paint
some
the
aberration in the picture taken.
Picture.
You think it's the picture?
Yeah,
Okay.
but of course, if the
Can we keep these for the file?
Sure.
Okay.
if the fence was white, it
Yes,
would
that's the
reflect
Pam.
white. It
This
would
way
be,
Pam can see what we're talking about.
if the fence was white, it would reflect white, and the shed would be
It
the
might be
color you
more-
want.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
I'll have to go look. Okay.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board? I mean,
I prefer to see some screening in front of it, some
Yeah, some
vegetation,
more.
something. Do they have the ability to plant something?
Trees where?
Shrubbery, I mean, just to.
Shrubbery, something, to
shrubbery.
break up that visual.
Around the fence, you mean?
In front of it, yeah.
In front of it, face
Between
between
that
the
and the
road.
road.
Facing the road.
I mean, the soil seems
Just
to,
something to break it up a little bit. You know, I'm not asking for a lot, I just,
Yeah, you know, you have blacktop, I mean, the blacktop goes back, and I sort of question why you can't go to the other end of the blacktop.
Go to the end of what?
Yeah,
well, if they're an
the
elderly
house side of-
couple, though, their ability to move it is gonna be
Yeah,
very, very
their
limited.
ability to do anything is not happening. Like I said, they have trustees now, their sons and daughters are the ones taking care of it, and they've been moved up to Buffalo to a facility up near their daughter.
So. And you're saying the new buyers are asking to keep it, so it's not,
Right, and
So it must be
actually,
in
you
a
know, I
condition that-
probably was too diligent because I'm being told that this would have probably never even came up, but I
yeah.
opened it by, you know, coming in to make sure it had a permit for the shed, not knowing that the shed couldn't be up front, told I didn't need a permit because it was only 8 by 10, which opened up the variance. So,
What do we think?
the small shed, I mean,
Let's hear from the neighbors.
yeah. Motion to advertise.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
yeah,
All right,
okay.
Pam, we'll give you your instructions. Do you need the survey back?
No, I have another
All
one.
right, then I'm gonna give this to Pam, so she has this cleaner one for the file. Here's the second copy, so we have it for next month. All right, and then we will see you on Monday, the 12th.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Third?
all in favor? Aye.
Everybody's like,
We will
what?
see you, everybody, next month on Monday, the 12th.